Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a little bit of a discussion video. I don't know how short or how long this is going to be. I legitimately have no notes. This is just something I've been thinking about for a while, and I really wanted to sit down and kind of talk to you guys, just talk in general. I encourage comments, please. Let's have a discussion about this. I know coming this Saturday on my channel, me, Chloe, and Brie are going to be getting together for the Book Sisters. We'd love to discuss this again there with all of you as well. So yeah, essentially, I guess the title of this video is like reading enjoyment and the pressures of social media, which kind of sounds like the title to a thesis, but it's not. Essentially, what I really wanted to sit down, and the thing I've been thinking about a lot, and I talked about this at the beginning of the year, was that I really wanted to step back this year and enjoy my reading. Making sure that I was reading, like not rushing through books for the sake of finishing books. And I'm not just talking as a creator here, guys. I am also talking as someone who consumes a lot of BookTube and is also on Bookstagram. Now, I'm not on Book Talk or anything at all like that. That's just I do have TikTok on my phone. I will go on once in a while to look at stuff, but generally not that much. And same with Twitter. I'm not a Twitter person, which is fine. But as both a content creator, it kind of comes at it from two different ways you look at it. So for coming from a content creator, I'll start there. It's that we really honestly do feel the pressure of trying to keep up with everybody else. And I know that everybody's like, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. But guys, it's a thing. So I was going to do on my channel this like series of videos looking back at my old TBRs. And I went back and watched my October TBR from, I think it was 2016. And I had 10 books on that TBR. And in that video, I actually say something like, oh my gosh, I hope I can get through all of these. So in the last 5 years, it just goes to show two things. That now my TBRs are like 3 times that size, sometimes 4 times that size. And the fact is I'm actually reading a lot more books than I used to, which is great. So on one hand, it's fantastic because I'm getting through more books. And I don't want to say it that way, because I think that's what's starting to bother me. It's like, am I reading all these books just for the sake of reading these books? Or am I reading these books because I really want to? I'm very much a backlist reader. You guys know that if you watch my channel. I read majority backlist. I do read a lot of stuff from NetGalley because I do get approved for a lot of stuff, which is fantastic. But a lot of the times I'm not getting to it until, sadly, after it's been released. So I guess it would be considered backlist at that point, right? And I think that I was discussing this with my friend Brie last night on Voxer, that I'm tired. And this is not any way that I'm going anywhere. I love doing BookTube. I love doing this and I would never step away. However, I just am trying to stop trying to keep up with everybody else, and everybody's different. And this is not throwing any shade on anybody because everybody's season of life is different. There are people who, have tons of time to be able to sit and read all day. There are other people who maybe have little ones at home who don't have as much time, so they rely mostly on audiobooks, which is fantastic. For me, it's a commute into work, and the thing is, it's like, this is kind of what the catalyst was the whole audiobook thing. Like, I have struggled so much with audiobooks over the last year on, I love them. End of the day, I love them. I think they're fantastic. They are a great way to consume books, a fabulous way to consume books. My issue is that what I was finding, especially in the summertime, was that oftentimes I would be listening to an audiobook and think to myself, okay, I want to get this done today. How much longer do I have on it? Okay, I'll speed it up so I can get it done. But why? At the end of the day, the question is why? Why do we feel the need to fly through books? Is it for content purposes? Is it for, if you're just someone who listens naturally to an audiobook at a very high speed and you can enjoy it in that context, that's fantastic. I am not one of those people. I need to really immerse myself in the story because like going back, I have been a reader for as long as I can remember. Like, this is not something I came into later in life. This is something that I, as a kid, if we went to a restaurant, if we went to my grandmother's house every Sunday for Sunday dinner, I always carried a book. I took books to school. I was that nerd kid, and I can say that. I let my nerd flag fly, people. That I would sit in the hallway or in the classroom, you know, during quiet reading, you know, like in the, what would you call it? Like in public school when you were like on recess, I would sit outside, like leaning against the wall of the school, reading a book. All my friends would be playing in the playground. I would be reading a book. That's me my whole life. You know, I've never gone anywhere without a book. And in all honesty, in my collective memory, and this isn't for any reason, the only day I can remember that I did not read anything. Now, I've been keeping track for years since I've been on BookTube. I do keep track of how much I read every day. And I kind of like doing that just for fun. But the only day since I started BookTube that I did not read even a page or two was the day after my dad died last January. And that's because of that, you know. The day he passed away, it was later in the evening. So, of course, I had read at work that day, and I had been reading when I got home from work. But the next day, that was the first day I'd never felt like picking up a book. So, other than that, I read every single day. Whether it be 200 pages or 2 pages, I still read every day. And that's very important to me, to be able to keep doing that. And audiobooks, yes, are fantastic. Again, don't get me wrong. I've been listening to audiobooks. I did go back and look because I thought it was later than this, but actually I've been an Audible subscriber since 2011. So 10 years. Now, I have canceled my membership for years and years during that time period, but that was when I first got an audio credit. And the first book I got on audio was Outlander, and the reason is because I had a longer drive at the time. And prior to that, I used to carpool with a couple of women, and then I went and started a new job. So I was commuting quite far at the time, and I thought, well, let's do something, because I can't read a book while I'm commuting, because I drive. I'm not on a train or anything like that. So I thought, well, you know what? Let's try one of these audiobooks. Like, I had no adverse to audiobooks, but I guess I did. I was prejudiced back then to audiobooks in a way, because I don't think that's the right wording. I was snobbish. Let's put it that way. I was snobbish towards audiobooks back then because, in my opinion, they weren't reading. Like, if you're listening to an audiobook, you're not reading the book. But I have very quickly come to change that opinion, because yes, you are reading the book, and I will argue that to the death to anybody. Audiobook listening is reading, and I challenge you to speak to anyone with a disability who can't physically read a book to tell them that listening to audio is not reading, because it is. And that's pretty much why audiobooks were really originally developed, I'm thinking. You know, that whole, for people who are unable to physically or digitally, like, read a book, whether they're blind or had a stroke or something else. Anyway, that's a whole different tangent I'm not going to go down. But that's when I started listening to audio. And the first book I had was Outlander, and I think it took me almost a month to get through that book on audio, that very first time I read through it, because I listened to it. I think I kicked it up to 1.25 speed, and that just seemed like, oh my goodness, right? And I really loved it. And that's the only time I listened to it, when I was in my car, commuting back and forth to work. And that's what audiobooks were for me for the longest time. And then they became a lot more that you were able to get your hands on them a lot easier. You know, you didn't have to have a credit to Audible every month. You know, the libraries on Overdrive started offering audiobooks. We now have all of these different services like Hoopla and Scribed and AnyPlay and Libro FM. And suddenly audiobooks are just like everywhere, and they're so easy to get your hands on at little to no cost to you. And that's been great. It's been great because, again, I think it's great for people who have a disability to be able to readily be able to get books to listen to. Fantastic. But also for those of us who want to consume audiobooks, but don't want to consume them at $30 a pop. So it's been fantastic. And I think it's great. But this part of me is just like, am I relying too much on audio? Because the thing is, I am very much My quirk, if you want to call it that, is that I like everything to stay the same. I like a routine. That's the word I'm looking for. Routine. I am very much a routine driven individual. If you mess with my routine, I get cranky. And not visibly out to people. Like, I'm not gonna like be like, to people and get all mad and shake my finger at you because you ruined my routine. But I'm a routine person. Like, I was talking about it in my last vlog that last week I had to go into work a couple of those days a bit early, and it screwed everything up for me, and I was not a happy camper. Like, I was and I wasn't, because like I have my routine. I get up around 6:30, 7 o'clock every morning. I don't start work till 11. And if it's a day I have to go into the office, then I know I have from like 6:30, 7 o'clock until 9, when I have to go and shower and start getting ready for work, to sit, and I will craft, or I will organize some of my books. And if I'm doing either of those things, I'm 9 times out of 10 listening to an audiobook, because that's like audiobook time, right? So even the days that I don't go into the office, like today's Thursday that I'm filming this, it's the same day you guys are going to see it. When I'm done this, I have still until 11 o'clock. I've already showered, so, because I knew I wanted to sit down and film these videos. I'm filming another one after this, and I wanted to sit down and do this. But when I'm done and when this is being edited, I'm going to be listening to an audiobook and probably crafting, probably working on my cross stitch. And that's, I like it for that. I have started to find, because I do spend a lot of time when I'm at work, when I'm doing busy work, and I've mentioned this 1,000 times, that I will pop in an audiobook. And I'm just finding that I'm not enjoying that anymore, because I'm finding I'm missing parts of the story. If I get into reading something that I'm doing on my computer for work, I'm missing this. And I just realized I can't do both. There are some people who can. I am not one of those people. So for me, audiobooks, I really want to move it to those times that are down times for me. If I'm sitting and crafting, if I'm organizing some books, because that is completely mindless. I'm not reading anything. I'm just like organizing stuff. Like, I have a lot of books to get through that I'm trying to get organized onto Goodreads and onto spreadsheets and things like that. So, like that's, and then commuting back and forth to work. Those are going to be my audiobook times. Other than that, I really want to go back to reading physically, digitally on my Kindle or on my Kobo. I just want to slow down. And I think that's what it is at the end of the day. Now, naturally, I'm a very quick reader. So, I can get through books relatively quickly still without the advent, or like without using audio or text to speech. I do still enjoy text to speech. I'll listen to that at night if I'm laying in bed for a little bit before I go to sleep, especially if my eyes are tired. It's great for that. But in general, I just really want to slow down and start enjoying books. So now on to the second part here, which is kind of about people who are not creators. So as creators, this is something that I think we really struggle with. And I think a lot of other creators out there will agree with me, that you feel like, oh my God, so-and-so read 35 books this month. I got to read 35 books this month. But no, you don't. And you know what? Don't judge that person who reads 35 books. If they listen to all those books on audio, good for them, because clearly their lifestyle allows them to do that. And that's how they enjoy it. That is great. I think that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And, maybe if I wasn't working, and maybe if I was won the lottery and I got to be home all day, I would probably sit and listen to audiobooks all day and craft, so I could do my two favorite things at the same time. But I can't. I gotta go into work because, you gotta pay rent. And we do like to eat here. I know. We're very demanding here. We like to eat. And the cats do too. So, I got little ones I gotta look after, right? But anyway, as people who are not content creators, as those who are just people who watch BookTube, or who on Bookstagram or BookTok or whatever, who watch these other creators do these things. The other thing now that we're getting, and this is relatively new within the last, 5-6 years, however long you want to say it is. It hasn't been forever, within the last decade at least. We are now being bombarded with new books all the time, right guys? So if you sit and watch like 4 or 5 BookTube videos, you're probably getting 10 recommendations. If you scroll through Instagram for 20 minutes, you're probably getting another 10 recommendations of books. And now all of a sudden our TBRs are getting huge. Hello. And we want to read all the books. And I think that's the other reason why we feel like, okay, I've got to read through these books quickly because I want to get to the next one. Do you know what I mean? So I just think it's a very interesting topic, and I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on it. I know I've been rambling for like 15 minutes on this, but it's something that I'm passionate about because reading is my passion. And I just want to get back to the days where I wasn't thinking, I got to get these done for this wrap up or for this vlog this week, or I got to have so many books for my wrap up at the end of the month. And I need to be okay with myself again, being able to carry books over. Like if I start a book on the 30th of September, it's okay if I finish it on the 2nd of October. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay. Now, all that being said, does that mean that I'm still going to have a ridiculously big TBR? Yes, ma'am, it is. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. My TBRs are still going to be redonkulous. But as I've said before with my TBRs, the reason that they are so big is because, like, I like to pick specific challenges and stuff like that. But also, it allows me to take a TBR that I have of about 5,000 books, and that's just what I own, digitally and physically. Allows me to take those 5,000 books and condense it into like 30 or 40 books. So then what I do is I just pick what I feel like reading, or I randomize it because I'm not a mood reader. So I will just randomize the list. What's the next book that comes up? Great, I'm going to read that one. And then I think what I'm going to do for the next 3 months as well is pick only 4 or 5 books every month on audio that are going to be specifically listened to on audio, that are going to be for those downtimes in the morning, my commute in and out of work, stuff like that. So anyway, sorry, I've got the hiccups now, you guys. Cheers. I didn't have any of my coffee while I sat here chatting with you. And God forbid I don't want it to get cold. So anyway, yeah, that's about all that I have, guys. Like I said, leave your comments below. Let me know. Are you guys feeling this way too? Maybe it's just this season because we're getting into the darker part of the year, the slower part of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. I am a winter and fall person. I like the spring and summer, but give me fall and winter any day of the week. Any excuse essentially where it's too cold to go outside and I can sit inside and read and craft. But like I said, we're probably going to bring this up in our discussion on Saturday here on the channel. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the books that we read for the Book Sisters Book Club, and I think I would like to bring this up because I'd love to know Chloe and Bree's thoughts on this as well. So if you're going to join us for that, it's going to be at, just an FYI, it's usually in the afternoon, but we had to move it. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on my channel on Saturday, the 25th of September. So do come and join us for that, and we'll of course be announcing the next prompt, which is one that I picked, and I'm super excited about that. But yeah, so anyway, guys, that is it. I am rambling. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.